Alright, so hi everyone, my name is Papa Idrissa Diop and welcome to my training video on SIPOC. And sorry ahead if the quality of my video is not very good and the quality of the sound also, because I'm using my phone to record this video because my laptop's camera doesn't work, but I think it should be fine. So let's get started. So today I'll explain what SIPOC is. I'll try to explain what SIPOC is, how it works, walk through some practical examples, and to show why it's such a useful tool in continuous improvement. So SIPOC, we can say, is a powerful tool that defines processes clearly. Whether you're in business, manufacturing, or even ordering some food or some items, SIPOC helps you map out who does what, how, and why. So let's try to understand first what SIPOC stands for. SIPOC stands for suppliers, inputs, process, outputs, and customers. So what is SIPOC? SIPOC is a high-level process mapping tool that identifies key elements before diving into details, and it's most likely used in Six Sigma's design phase. Think of it as a big picture tool that answers who provides input, what's being transformed, and who benefits. This prevents confusion later. So why do you use SIPOC? So the purpose of using SIPOC is to clarify where inputs come from and where outputs go, to ensure all stakeholders and customers are considered, identify critical to quality early, which is what matters most to customers, to help. It also helps teams define project boundaries clearly. So let's break it down. So the SIPOC components are 5 key elements. So the first phase is the suppliers. So where do information and materials come from? So the people or systems providing inputs. For example, a coffee shop supplier is the bean farmer, right? So for the inputs, the second phase, what do suppliers give to the process? Materials or data needed, like coffee beans or an online order form. Regarding the process, we have key steps, and the limit is maximum 5. For example, brew, pack, serve. And for the outputs, the final product or service is given. So for example, a cup of coffee. For the customers, which is the last phase, who receives the outputs? How have we identified CDQs for each customer segment? So who receives the outputs? So basically me or you, maybe the coffee lover. So yeah, let's go for the next one. So how to create a SIPOC? So ready to build one? Let's follow these steps. So the first step will be to define the process, from the start to the end. For example, order received to order delivered. The second step will be to list the key steps. So maximum is 5, and for example, receive order, pack, label, ship, and deliver. Simple as that. So for the third step, we have to identify suppliers, inputs, who provides the materials or info. Suppliers might be customer, warehouse. Inputs can be the order for packaging, materials. And the fourth step would be to define the outputs and or customers. So what's delivered and to whom. For example, outputs can be shipped order, customers can be end customers, logistics. So let's try to go through some practical examples so we can understand it more. So our first example would be to order pizza online. Yeah, like me, I usually order pizza sometimes because I'm trying to be healthy, sometimes when I'm a little bit tired and I'm hungry. So in this case, the supplier can be the customer, me or you, or the cheese vendor. So the inputs is the order toppings. So the process would be as soon as they receive the order, so the order, pay, box, and deliver. So they have to prepare it, bake, and deliver. So the outputs, so most like basically it's gonna be the product delivered. So the pizza in this case delivered, and the customers, yeah, it's gonna be me or the hungry guy who ordered the pizza. So you see how SIPOC cuts through the noise. So let's go for another example. In this case, we have a college course registration. So in this case, the suppliers are the professors or the IT system. The inputs might be the application payment, course list, or student requests. So the process is to verify, register, confirm, select courses, and the outputs might be the confirmation email, the class schedule, and finally the customers should be the students. Now everyone knows their schedule and how they broke it down for this coming semester, for example. So one last example. So here we have finally the car manufacturing. So here the suppliers might be the steel supplier or electronic vendor. So the inputs, we're gonna have the metal, software, labor. The process is gonna be the weld frame, install engine, which is the most important part. And after, you have to paint the car and then test drive it to see if everything works. And the outputs is a shiny new car, finished car, ready to go. And the customers might be the dealership or the person directly. So SIPOC works at any scales. I think those examples are pretty accurate, so to help you understand how SIPOC works. So why SIPOC is useful in the define phase? Because we can say that SIPOC is such a useful tool because it clarifies the full process scope from start to finish. It prevents misunderstandings by aligning everyone on the process. So it highlights what's critical to quality for the customers, what matters the most, what's the most important part, so what should we spend time on. And SIPOC also provides a strong foundation for data collection and analysis. And finally, it encourages collaboration across departments and functions. So key takeaways here, we can keep that SIPOC simplifies complexity, use it early in process improvement, Six Sigma, the define phase, to avoid scope creep, and SIPOC also aligns suppliers and customers for smoother processes. Now we can say that go map a process with SIPOC. So if you have a product to sell or service to offer, you can use SIPOC to make it clear and accurate. So here are our references, sorry, we used during our research, so which is the book, our textbook, and some websites to just compare, or if we can have any additional information. So that's it. I think you guys got it, and I think it was a good one, and thank you for your attention, and hope everything got the importance of SIPOC. Thank you.